today's class so that you guys can review back to it if you need to. I'm Amy Corey of Western Title and Escrow. I'm a sales executive here at Western Title, part of the sales team, and we are very excited to present Western Ed Wednesday and present Breeze to you. As you all know, it launched June 1st, and something's got a lot of good information for us on how to go about starting to use it and bring it into all of your disclosures and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Satya as she is a senior manager in training and development. Her career started working in Title and Escrow, and then transitioned to working as a software trainer for SoftPro. She is leading the learning and development team and is excited to bring real estate, title, and escrow and software training experience to build the best possible training experience for our customers. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her and let her kind of talk about how she's going to run today's class. I know I've seen her present. She's amazing. So here we go.
Thank you, Amy, so much. And nice to see you again and to see all your faces this morning. Feel free throughout the overview today, if you have any questions, you will not hurt my feelings if you just unmute yourself and interrupt. You can also use the chat. So I would love to have an open dialogue with any questions. I'll ask you a few questions today because I always like to gather some information during each one of my trainings so I can tailor it a little bit. So feel free to just jump in at any time. And Amy will help me with the chat, I'm sure, but I'll try to keep an eye on it as well. And throughout the training to address any questions. And at the end, we'll make sure we gather all of those questions. And one other thing I like to touch on is, I know some of you may use Breeze and some of you may use other transaction management tools. So let me know in the chat. I'm just curious. You probably use Transaction Desk or Dotloop, maybe DocuSign Rooms, Zip Forms. If you want to let me know in the chat, feel free. You don't have to what you currently use. And I just like to relate the training a little bit to that. But one thing I want to point out is that no matter what you use, whether you're existing SkySlope or not, we're talking about Breeze today. It's a standalone tool and it's free. All you need to do is enter your OREF credentials to access these disclosures and send them out, okay? So no payment required. You don't have to be a SkySlope customer. So I'll address everybody today how to create a login for if you're brand new to SkySlope and if you've never used our products, or if you're an existing customer that uses SkySlope forms or another transaction management tool. Okay, so we'll customize this training for everyone today. So welcome to the Breeze overview. We already did the introductions. I'm really excited to bring you this tool because it's really a game changer in real estate. We know that real estate, I know from being an escrow back, when I started, there was a little bit of carbon paper still around, right? And in the 21 plus years, it's changing, but it's changing slowly compared to lenders, right? Lenders, now you still sign the paperwork, but you scan everything in. And so with real estate, we have some tools, but none of them are actually perfect, right? And I think Breeze is real game changer. There's nothing like it on the market in Oregon, and it's changing the way that not only you can send out disclosures to your client, but really that interface that your client experiences when they fill out these forms, because disclosures are a little ugly. There's a lot of questions, right? So we're really, it's a game changer in that term and really making you look good for your customers. So it's a really exciting tool and I just love training Breeze. So we'll talk about why we created Breeze throughout the training today. I'll touch on that, the solution we're now providing with Breeze. I'd love your feedback. One thing, our product manager, I have direct contact with him and he makes changes based off of feedback. He'll even hop on the phone with you if you have an enhancement request. And he listens to agents in every state and will make feedback based off of your requests. So definitely keep those lines of communication open. We'll jump into the demo in just a moment. And again, with any questions, just ask away. So we have SkySlope, our original product. That is our digital transaction management platform. That's one that brokers in states sign on with us. And then anybody that works for that brokerage will upload their paperwork. So no matter whether you're a SkySlope customer, you can still use SkySlope forms in Breeze. So SkySlope Slope forms we added on based off of the request from our clients. But we went ahead and made that available to OREF members in September, right? So you just have to enter your OREF credentials and then you can go ahead and access SkySlope forms. From there, we went ahead and created Breeze, and we created Breeze based off of requests from brokers in California, because there's a couple similar products in California, but they're owned by Compass, one of them, and our brokers didn't want to work with a Compass-owned product. So we went ahead and created Breeze, and now it's available in other states. So there's Glide in California and another product in California, but in Oregon, there's nothing like this. So Compass agent, any agent can use Breeze. Okay, so just a little overview of our products there. So Breeze was created for those pesky disclosures like the transfer disclosure statement, the seller property questionnaire, lead-based paint. I think there's a fireplace addendum in Oregon as well. And I'll show you those disclosures that we have in Breeze. So not every OREF or RMLS form is in Breeze. We're just talking about those disclosures that tend to confuse sellers and that agents have to go through and review for accuracy. And we built in a lot of really cool tools within Breeze, kind of like TurboTax, right? And I'd like to know, like, how does everybody send out their disclosures right now? Do you send them out as a PDF? Do you send them out with a digital solution like Zip? Let me know in the chat. Do you sit with your client and have them sign it, fill it out so that you make sure it's filled out correctly or accurately and none of those yes questions are missed? Anybody? Any takers in the chat? Okay, mix of person or PDF. You send it to initial. Okay, awesome. Sally, because we have a, okay, no problem, Sally Joe. PDF. And so what happens, printed with self-addressed stamp envelope at listing so they can return it. And it probably takes a little while sometimes for them to fill it out, right? And they may have questions when they're filling it out, because some of those questions that they answer yes to, they have to provide descriptions and so on. And then when you get it back, what happens? If you don't sit with them for them to review it as they're filling it out, do you actually look at it to make sure that they provide descriptions for those yes questions? I see Sue nodding her head. You have to go through that form line by line, right? And then make sure if they ran out of room, there's an addendum. Yeah, okay. So Breeze is going to solve all of that for you. So we truly created this based off of requests from agents because we know these disclosures can be pain points for you. So I'm going to show you all of that today, and I'd love to hear what you think. With all of our products, you have access to our support team. So those of you that use SkySlope already probably know and love our support team. They're available 24/7, and Breeze, Forms, or our core product SkySlope, you can reach out to them. They'll answer within the second ring, 10-second chat response, or 20-minute email reply. And they try to hold as close as possible as they can to these response times, depending on, if we've moved people into other departments and promoted them. That can change a little bit, but for the most part, we hold to those times. And so there's no 24 hours waiting for a response time, right? So let me just hop into Breeze. But before I do that, does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. So first of all, you'll notice that we have this landing page, and it's breeze.skyslope.com. I'm just going to go ahead and just put this in the chat. We'll send it to everybody after the overview today as well. Now, if you're an existing SkySlope customer, I'll show you in just a moment. You just enter your existing credentials when you sign in. Otherwise, you click Create Account, and you're just going to enter your first and last name. You're going to enter your email address. I have to do a funny one so it doesn't create a duplicate account. And then I just select your role. If you do work with the TC, the TCs can create an account and then request access to send out disclosures on your behalf and create a password. And that's all you have to do to create that account, agree to the terms and conditions, and you've created your account. In order to send out that first set of disclosures, when you're getting ready to send out the first set, we actually let you go in and create that first set, but it'll ask for your OREF credentials. So I'll just show you that real quick. So I select my state or states. So we are in Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and California. Nevada is next. And then we click continue. And then we just simply enter the property address. So I do want to show you really quick for those of you that that are existing SkySlope customers, what it looks like when you log in. So I'll just show you that real quick. So same thing, you just enter your existing credentials. You don't need to create a new login. And then it recognizes that account. It's going to go through and take you to that normal homepage you see, and then take you right into Breeze. You can toggle from SkySlope. So if this is what you're used to seeing, you'll notice you can just click apps in the top right and toggle over to Breeze. Okay, so really easy, just click apps and Breeze and it'll take you into Breeze, and then you'll be prompted to enter your state or states and so forth. If you use SkySlope Forms, again, you can toggle between SkySlope Forms and Breeze. So really what we're trying to do is build this autonomous transaction platform where you can access every single need, whether it's forms, whether it's disclosures or transaction management, but you can also just use Breeze and SkySlope Forms together. And I'll touch on that a little bit more later. All right, so now I'm in Breeze, and we've really designed Breeze to just be easy to use and make it literally less than a minute for you to send out disclosures. And there's no prep work needed in order for your seller to fill out these disclosures digitally. No prep work at all for signatures, for text fields, for those yes questions, and we've built in a lot of cool features I'm going to share with you today. So number one, if you do work with a team of agents or you work with the TC, there's Invite Your Team where you can share access or request access. Okay, so that's available to you. And we have some tutorials on that. There's just a couple steps that you have to do. Otherwise, you're just going to click Start New Disclosures. All your active files will be shown here, and you can search for files as well by clicking the search bar, and then I can go ahead and search for a particular file by seller name or property address. Otherwise, we're just going to do Start New Disclosures. If you use SkySlope Forms, then you can say I already have a file. If you've already sent out like the listing agreement from SkySlope Forms, and then you can link the two together. Otherwise, you just click Create New and start typing your property address. And it's going to search for that property address in Google, MLS, and one other source. And you can just select the property and click Next to move forward. And then it's going to show you the available forms. So you'll notice we have, do you guys call it the SPUDS form? I know in Arizona they call it that. The SPDS, we have the lead-based paint, exterior siding, we have the HOA addendum, and the wood stove addendum. Typically, the first question after people use Breeze is they say, what other forms can you add? So we are listening to you if there's other forms or disclosures that make sense to add to Breeze. Every state that we've gone to, we've gone from like 3 to like 10 to 12, and we're continuing to add, okay? So definitely let us know if there's other forms that you think would make sense to add to Breeze. I'm just gonna choose the one to move forward. And then I'm gonna enter my seller's name and their email address. One thing I want to touch on real quick here, a common question we get is, well, what if I have two sellers and one of them is going to fill it out, right? We won't have both of them filling it out. You do have to pick one party that's responsible, and whoever's listed first is who's going to receive the email to fill out the disclosure. The additional party would be added for signature purposes only, okay? So you definitely want to put the primary person in this first position. I'm going to click Next to move forward. That's all you have to do to send out your disclosures. That's it. No prep work, no inserting of signatures, and now the seller is going to receive an email and get this nice TurboTax guided workflow. And TurboTax really paved the way for this seller experience, and I'll go ahead and show you that in just a moment. They don't even have to look at the form until they actually are ready to sign it and review it for accuracy. So I'm going to click Send. Boom, I'm done. I talked a little bit, but you can literally send those out in 30 seconds. So now I'm on my home page of Breeze, and of that file. And on my home page, if I look back here, you can see all of your files. And again, I can search for it and then click on it. So you'll notice any disclosures that I've sent out are going to be shown right here in the middle. I can resend the email, I can cancel, I can download a copy of this blank form if I want to meet them in person, and I can actually view it. So right now, when you send this form out to the seller, they have to go through this form, and I don't know about you, you've seen this form a lot, right? And I've been in the industry a long time, but what I hear from sellers and even people that have been in the industry a long time is this form isn't really self-explanatory for them, right? It takes a lot of reading, and I don't know, it gives me just a touch of anxiety seeing it with all the questions so close, right? So number one, some of the pain points we've heard from you is that sometimes like these asterisk items, when they check yes, they have to provide a description, right? It lets them know right here, but they have to attach a copy on a attached sheet, right? And then you have to go through when you receive it back and make sure that all of those questions actually have an explanation, right? So what we've done is two things. Number one, we allow you to view this form real time as the seller's filling it out. And so as soon as the seller starts filling this form out, it's going to change to in progress. And then you can click view, and I'll show you this in action. And it's going to show everything that the seller's already filled out. Anything blank will be in yellow highlighted. And as the seller fills it out, if they're online doing it as you're looking at it, it'll blink and update. So it's real-time updates. Ashley says that's awesome. Thank you so much for the feedback. I think so as well. But really what we've done with Breeze is try to make it so you don't have to do this. We've given the tools so you can view it real time, but we have built in so many tools within the guided workflow for the seller, hoping to eliminate those calls and those questions for you, and also eliminating you having to review it for accuracy. So let me go ahead and jump on over to the seller view, but do you have any questions before I do that? Let me know as I'm hopping over there. All right, so now what we've done is just simply sent the email to your seller. It shows coming from your agent, and we've built in technology so it doesn't go to their spam or their junk, okay? They simply click on the email and start your disclosures. We have a little intro here, start your disclosures, and it takes them into Breeze. This is mobile optimized, so we don't have an app, but you can do all of this on your cell phone. You can log into Breeze and send out these disclosures with just a few clicks. Your seller can then receive the email. They don't need to print anything out, and they can just be sitting there getting their hair done, having a glass of wine, filling this form out right on their cell phone. If they have a question and they want to call you, they can click right here, call me or email me, and it's just going to open up their email or their phone, and they can easily call you. So really trying to make it self-explanatory and easy. We have the privacy notice that they click on. They confirm the property address. You'll notice already this nice guided workflow. It's so much easier on the eyes than actually looking at the form for the seller. And I truly believe that this is the wave of the future for these disclosures and a lot of these forms, even for you to fill out a lot of the forms, because buyers don't fill out a 1003 anymore, right? They don't sit with their loan officer and fill out that 4-page 1003. They just go to Rocket Mortgage or go to their online bank, right, and fill out an application for a loan. So this is really the expected consumer experience with technology. So we have them broken out in sections that make sense to the seller, that are bite-sized section. We first have the intro where we give them the legal information, ask them if they're occupying the property, and then we jump into the property features. And I'll show you a few things here. So again, already easier on the eye, just like TurboTax, instead of looking at that tax form and having to go through and fill it out, instead you're taken through the guided workflow where it asks you questions and you just click on boxes. And one thing I love about Breeze is we have smart logic built in. So we've actually eliminated some of the questions that your sellers see on the form. So right now, if I answer no, I won't see this additional question about the bolted foundation if I answer no, because it's not applicable, okay? But if I answer yes, then and only then do I see this additional question, and then I can provide the response. Also, for those questions where they need to provide an additional explanation because they answered yes, notice this text box right here. So right now they have to go and write it on additional attachment, right? And then you have to review the form after to see if they gave an explanation. Right here, we've said yes, and then it lets them know that they need to provide an explanation. They don't have to. So maybe at this point in time that they're like, oh, I don't know what explanation to provide. I need to call my agent. No problem. They can click next and it's going to save their answer, but I'm going to show you that it's the incomplete option, which is really cool in just a moment. So again, they can just go through, start answering these questions. Only the questions that require explanation for yeses will give them that box. So if it's one that's not required, you'll notice some of them don't actually ask. I can say none apply or public. So we give them the options here. Water permit, this one's pretty cool. So we have the smart logic built in. Yes, if they answer yes, then they can go ahead and attach a copy. And then it gives them the secondary question, whether or not they have a permit, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and click through a few of these. Vanessa, yes. Awesome, right? It's much nicer for the seller to fill these out. Now, as they click next, if they don't know an answer, they can absolutely skip it. And I'll show you that feature, the incomplete feature, in just a moment. And it saves. So every time I click next, it's going to save that. So if I need to exit and come back, they can just go back to that email. And you'll notice I'm going to click continue. And then now it's going to take me to write my last question that I just left off on, okay? Or that I missed, so that I can go ahead and answer these questions. Now this form still has a lot of questions, or Breeze does, because the form does, right? But we've actually eliminated some of them, and we've given them some cool information in here. You'll notice when I get to one of these questions, they'll have like little question marks. So if we know of questions, we've polled agents and sellers and found out which questions sometimes confuse them and that they call you about. And so what we've done, you'll notice here, is we put little infos. So if we know typically this question confuses sellers, then we've actually provided information right within Breeze to help them actually make an educated decision for that particular question. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go through a few. Again, I can skip questions. So if I skip a question, you'll notice when I get to the very end, it's going to let me know view incomplete. So now as a seller, I know that I've skipped questions within that sections, and I can go back and answer just those questions. Again, material damage. Is there any material damage to the property? We know sellers may not know what that exactly means. So they can just hover over the question mark. We let them know this could be from fires, floods, beach movements, landslides, earthquakes, and so on. So then like, nope, haven't had any of those, and they don't have to, they'll save a call to you or them answering it incorrectly. Any questions you have for me? I'm going to click away through here and just answer a few more so that I can show you the incomplete feature, which I think is awesome and really going to solve a pain point from you so you don't have to review that form line by line. See any questions? Any questions, Amy? I don't think so. Again, doesn't apply, not sure. One other thing we've added is, I think it's in Oregon as well. I know it's in Washington. There's some questions, if they say no, there's additional questions where they have to check not applicable, I think it is, NA. Are those in Oregon? I think somebody asked me on my last Oregon call. So, and a lot of times they miss the NA because they answer no. We automatically check any of those questions. So if they say no and there's questions below it that they have to mark NA because they marked no, we'll just check them for them when they check no. So again, trying to take that guesswork out of your seller's hands and reduce that review that you're going to have to do. So you'll notice I have this incomplete section right here. The seller could go ahead and call you, and you could log into Breeze and you could view that real time. So notice it's in process here. I can click view as the broker here and scroll through, see all of the questions that they've answered. Notice anything that's missed is highlighted in yellow here. Did I see somebody have a question? No?
No, just people cannot wait to see it or to use it, and they love it.
Awesome.
Loving it.
Yeah. So this is cool, right? So if your seller does want to make sure they send you that form fully completed, you could go ahead and log in. And if they have some questions for you, you could go ahead and help them. Oh yeah, here's an NA one. So here's one. If they said no, we're just going to automatically check that NA, since only if yes do they need to address this. So we don't even show them this question. We just mark it as NA for them. And so again, you can view it real time, but let's say the seller does send it to you. They missed that view incomplete or whatever reason, they need to submit it incomplete. They can go ahead and click on review. Again, we're going to alert them up here that it is incomplete, making it very clear. Legally, they still do have to view the form. So they scroll through the form. Again, we're showing them anything in yellow that was missed, and then they can go ahead and send it for review to you. Now, right now, you'd have to go through that form line by line, check for the yeses and all of that. None of that with Breeze. What we've done is two things. We've sent the seller and you as the agent an email letting you know there was an incomplete submission. The Breeze name is right, huh, Tammy? It literally is a Breeze. So incomplete submission, you will receive that. And also, let me go ahead and show you. Real quick.
I do have one question in
Yes.
chat. If the seller is using an exemption, will the first page only be available?
That's a great question. I don't know that I know the answer to that one, but I can certainly get one for you, Erica. And follow up in an email. If the seller's using an exemption, will the first page only be available? I don't think we have that built in because I haven't seen it. It always sends them all of the pages. So what I can do, Erica, is go ahead and let our product manager know, and he would probably want to hop on a call with you, kind of walk through that use case, if that's okay. I'll go ahead and just pull up your, yeah, so we'll go ahead and follow up with you on that one. All right, so you as the agent will receive an email as well, letting you know there's an incomplete submission. And notice how cool this is. So we've let you know exactly which lines are missing answers. And if only the explanation is missing for one of those questions that they answered yes and requires an explanation, then we're gonna let you know just the explanation is missing. So we let you and the seller know that these items were missing. And then both of you have access. If you want to log in real quick to that file, you can do so right from your email just by clicking view property file and then go to that in process like I just showed you. And then the seller, so if you're viewing it with them, notice it lets you know that you have an incomplete submission in Breeze. And then the seller can click on that email that they received letting them know it was incomplete. They can click on edit. It's going to take them right back to those disclosures, and they can just click view all incomplete, and you can go ahead and help them, and they can type the info now that they have it. Click next, and it's just going to take them through to those questions that they actually missed. Boom. So they can answer all of those. Once they've answered all of those, it'll take them back to the review screen, and then they can send it for review one more time. Both you and the seller will now receive an email letting you know that that disclosure was completed. So you'll both receive that email. Boom, completed. And you can click view property file from your email. And remember, this is mobile optimized. So if you get that notification on your email on your phone, we are working on text messages also to opt in or opt out. But then you can just click on that link right from your phone. It's going to take you to that disclosure page, and then you have a few options. So before I move on to signing and the different options there, any other questions? Pretty cool, right? I see some people chatting that they can't wait to use this. So definitely, I think just solving some pain points and moving forward. If they make a mistake, can they go back and fix the typo? So once they submit it to you, they cannot, but that's at the top of our Praveen, our product manager's list. Great question, Erica. We're working on 2 enhancements. And I'll tell you, these aren't enhancements that it's like, oh yeah, talk to you next year, right? Like we're working on these and they're making changes like every 2 weeks. So it's probably, you know, a couple months out. I don't have a timeline yet on it, but we're working on 2 things. Right now, we require that the seller send it to you for review before they can sign it, okay? So we're working on the ability that if it's complete, they can go, yeah, yes, Sally Jo, this is before signing. So right now they have to send it to you for review, and then you can go ahead and send it back for signature once you've reviewed it. And that's because we polled and talked to a lot of realtors and found out that was their preference. But I've heard mixed throughout my trainings. And so we want to provide functionality for everyone. So we're working on 2 things with the enhancement. Number 1, allowing them to sign prior to, but with that, we want to provide them the ability to be able to edit the form and fix any typos, or if they need to make changes to the form, they can make a change and like initial the change and re-sign. So we're working on those use cases and that functionality, and that is going to be coming. Okay, so right now, if they needed to make a change, they'd have to print it out and make the change, you know, on the copy and initial, and then scan it to you at this point in time. But again, that's at the top of Praveen's list we just talked last week. So at this point in time, you have a few options. So you can download it. Maybe you're going to be meeting them for coffee today and you just want to have them sign the physical copy, wet signature, fine. You can go ahead and download it at any time, before it's filled out, after it's filled out, and then once it's signed. You can also download it and then upload it to DocuSign or Zip forms to send out with other forms for signature, whichever forms provider you prefer. You could go ahead and download and upload it, or signing platform. You can also push it to SkySlope Forms. So do I have any SkySlope Forms users here? Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you can push this to SkySlope Forms. So after they fill it out, if you click add to forms, it's just going to push it right over to SkySlope Forms, and Breeze and SkySlope Forms talk to each other. So once you create a form in SkySlope Forms, it has it available in Breeze to link it. And if you create it in Breeze first, because that's the first disclosures, are like one of the first things you send out, it automatically creates that file right here within Forms. So they both work together. And once, if you send the forms out for signature in Breeze, it'll add it to your envelopes here in SkySlope Forms. So they do work together. We're talking about adding an enhancement where you can actually prepare the listing agreement here in Breeze. Do you think that would be helpful? So then you could send the listing agreement and disclosures out, and you would actually get the guided workflow to fill out the listing agreement. You could send it with the disclosures all at once, and then the seller would have like a portal where they could sign the listing agreement real quick and then work on the disclosures. What does everybody think about that? I see Sue nodding her head.
I typically schedule them 2 different times. So I'll get a listing and then a week or 2 weeks later, I'll do the disclosure.
Yeah.
So don't do them on the same day.
Okay, but this would give you the functionality to then do the listing agreement within Breeze. Steve says, love it. Yeah, so I think that would make sense too, because then it's kind of like one-stop shop, right? Okay, so from here, let's say you actually want to send it for signatures from Breeze. It just goes through DigiSign. It's really easy. So you just click send for signatures. You can edit the subject line and email messages. We're changing this so you can actually customize them as well and have like your own templated email and subject line. And then when you send for signatures, it's simply just going to send a email to your seller, request for signature, and they're just going to click sign now, agree to the e-signature terms. It's just like SkySlope Forms, DigiSign. If you're used to that, select their signature or draw it, and then just click through all the required fields. And once they click the last required field here, then they can go ahead and finish signing. They can download or view a copy of the signed documents. You'll receive a notification now that it is signed, and you can click on that link right from your email to access that file, just like you can for the completed. And then now, if you're a SkySlope customer that uses SkySlope Transaction Management, then it's going to drop it into your SkySlope file as long as you linked the listing or transaction to that forms file. And you can do that before or after sending the disclosures out. If you use Transaction Desk or Zip or Dotloop or Brokerment or any of those, then all you have to do is just download it to your computer. You can download it as a single PDF or a zip file, and then you can go ahead and it's going to bring up that PDF, and then you can just save it to your folder and then upload it, which is the same thing you're doing if you're sending out as a PDF right now, right? So you can just save it real quick and then drag it over to your preferred transaction management platform or print it out, whichever your preference if you're still using a paper file. Any questions? Let's see, I see a couple.
Yeah.
Sally Jo, does the required explanations page for yes or no answers allow them to fill in automatically at the time of answering that question? Yes, absolutely. So when they answer yes or no, to any question, and if it requires a response because of their answer, they get an explanation box, and then they just type it out and it automatically pushes it to an attachment page. Great question. Okay. Yeah, so as soon as they click yes, it gives them that explanation box. If they don't have that explanation at that point in time, then they can go ahead and fill it out later. It'll let you know if it's incomplete. Great question. Now, one other thing we've done within Breeze is allow you to open an order with your escrow or title company. So we've done this in SkySlope Transaction Management. We'll be adding it to SkySlope Forms. One other thing, for those of you that use SkySlope Forms, we are adding Teams or TC Access in the coming months. So definitely keep an eye out for emails about that. Just like we have TC Access in Breeze, we actually beta tested it in Breeze first. So we'll have open order available no matter which platform you use, really trying to reduce that repetitive data entry. And so I'm simply going to click open order. And then Amy, what's one of your escrow officers there?
We'll go Tanya Silky.
Tanya.
Oh, T.O. Sorry.
Oh, what was it?
T.O.
Oh,
T.O. Yeah.
so you can start searching for your favorite escrow officer. They will come up. If they don't show up, you can add a new contact. Once you select them, you can default the contact for future listings to save you even more time. And click next. It's going to auto-populate the email address, the property address, the seller information. And so with the click of a button, you're not going to have to go out to your email and retype that information or call them or scan anything to them. I'm not going to send Tanya that escrow because she'll be so excited. I have done it by accident though, and it's just seamless. Like they're like, okay, thank you very much. So it is an email. It lets you know right within Breeze that you did pre-open. So giving you or open, it gives you that peace of mind that you opened escrow, right? So as you're checking status of disclosures, you know that you opened up escrow. And then the escrow officer is simply going to receive an email from you to open that order. It has the seller information, your information. You can edit that message before you send it if you need any additional work done or want to provide any background. And then from there, when you send out disclosures, it's going to go ahead and make it even easier once you've defaulted. So I'm going to go ahead and just send out one more set here, show you how easy it is to send out these disclosures. Again, you can select any of these disclosures, choose them to move forward, add your seller information. Their email address is required because they do have to receive this via email. Click next. Boom, I've sent out my disclosures, no prep work, right? And then now, since I defaulted my escrow officer, it's letting me know I can open with my escrow officer. I just click open, and now with the click of a button, I can go ahead and send that over. So really just trying to save you time, right? And create that autonomous transaction platform because we know you have to go into a lot of different logins, right, today. So trying to make this easier for you. Any questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I love the feedback and the questions. So I appreciate the excitement because will this be available to all escrow officers? Yes, Erica. So if for some reason your escrow officer is not showing up when you go to search, you can go ahead and add them as a new contact. Okay, and then I'll save them under your profile. So we try to have all those escrow officers in there, but if they're not, then just go ahead and add them and then default them in. Great questions. Any other questions? And so what I recommend is to get it set up because I know you may not have a listing right now. So if you do, you can go ahead and try it out on your listing. But I recommend you just create an account and send yourself a set of disclosures because I don't know about you. I don't learn by watching somebody, right? So then it's like you forget about it. So I would just go ahead and create that account. Again, it will ask for your credentials. So let me just show you real quick. You just create an account, first and last name, phone number, and your role, agent, TC, so on, and your password. I need to update this because I'm just entering the wrong email. 06. And then agree to the terms. I just want to show you the flow real quick because there's a couple of other questions I didn't show you when I first created that account at the beginning. So once I click create account, it's going to ask me what region or regions. So if I do have additional, then I can go where I'm licensed, and then I enter my property address, and I would just enter like your home address, right? Or an address in Oregon as like a test. So you can send, and you can see how easy it is to send out the disclosures, but then you can walk through the seller side and see if you have any questions before you actually do it with the seller. That being said, I just had an agent last week that we trained, and she was so used to like having to call and bug the seller for these disclosures. She got the seller's disclosures back the first time she tried it. She had a listing. She's like, I'm just going to try it. She jumped in and tried it. She got them back in like 10 minutes, and she's like, something must be wrong. I got them back in 10 minutes. And so she was like going through those disclosures with a fine-tooth comb, and everything was fine. It was perfect. The seller filled it out actually within 10 minutes, just going through those disclosures. So after you select them and you enter your seller's name, just want to show you one thing real quick, and then we'll let you go. Is it'll ask for your brokerage name, and then it's going to ask you for your credentials. So when I click send here, it doesn't ask for your license number until the very end. So notice now, and we're updating this because when product created this, they didn't realize that the license number for OREF was the same as your real estate license number. So we're going to update this. Just enter the same number twice. Okay, so enter your Oregon license number twice and click next, and that's all you have to do. And now you've created that account. I would enter your information as a seller to send yourself the set of disclosures, and then you can walk through and actually receive the email like you're the seller as well. So that way, if your seller has any question, you can kind of like bounce back between the two. And don't forget about support. Okay, so if you do have questions and you need help to access that support team, I'm going to go ahead, Amy. I'd love to send everybody just an email with the support contact information and some resources in case they need help. So we'll do that after this session. But if you click on support right here, it actually opens our support page. And you'll notice that there's a Breeze section, but not only that, in the bottom right, there's this chat option. And if you click chat, you just enter 3 pieces of information. It's going to send it to our support team. And within 10 seconds or so, you'll get a response. And then they can go ahead and help you with the question. And it's not only when you have a problem, right? If you're like, I'm sending out my first set of disclosures and I don't know what Sati did, right? I need some help. This is the first time using the system. Reach out to support. Have a question about how your seller needs to fill them out, reach out to support. So that's what they're there for. Also, if you click on Breeze right here, you'll notice that we have some tutorials, so quick little tutorials and additional training options. So for each function within Breeze, we have like a high-level tutorial showing you how to use it as well. I think we have a couple questions.
Yeah, you do. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So when they get the email, does it say our name or brokerage name and subject line? It does in your signature.
And then, yeah, right.
Yeah. And then what about co-listings or buyers that are shared? We have Steve sign the agency and some disclosures. Will he need his own account, or can I get his agent? You can share accounts. So absolutely within Breeze, you can go ahead and invite your team. Let me just decline this. And so this is what it looks like. And so you can say start sharing. And you can share an account. So both people, the person sharing the account and the person requesting account, both need to have accounts set up within Breeze. And then you can request an account from somebody and just enter their email address, and then they'll have to create a login, and then they just approve it and enter their credentials, or vice versa. They can create the login first and enter their credentials and say start sharing and share their account, and then move forward, and it'll ask them for their credentials, and then they can go ahead and invite the person that they're working with. Great question. Can you type a note to them when it is sent? Right now, you cannot customize the message, but we're working on that functionality. Great question, Erica. Where you can actually customize what message is sent out to them. Right now, it's just a standard. I can show it to you real quick. Let's see. Here we go. Disclosures needed. So it's time to complete your disclosures. And this is just our generic message that we have right now. Actually, it doesn't look like it does have your brokerage information. I think we're talking about having it in there. Would you want it in there, the broker name? And that's again, the customization. Yes, okay. I'm gonna add that to it as well. I'll give both this to Praveen, our product manager. Let me just add that. And we have your license number. Yeah, but it makes sense. I think that's why they have that question, just to add it in
And
there.
Tammy's actually asking what the email subject line looks like. Oh, there you're highlighting it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So it just says disclosures needed for and a list of their property address. Thanks, Sally Joe. And yeah, so I thought, let me look at one other email to make sure. I thought I had in there. No, so I'll escalate that to Praveen right after this call and let him know or ask him where that is on the list. And then I can update you on those 2 items when I send out the email with all the support contact information and the resources for those tutorials.
I will be sending a follow-up email out to everybody and also a link to the recording if you want to rewatch any of this.
Perfect. So Amy, I can just send you over the information if you want to include the support contact information. Would that be helpful? Yeah, okay. They actually have like a Breeze handout, I think, where it has links to the tutorials, support contact information. So I'll send that out to you.
Perfect.
All right, any other questions? We really appreciate your time today. We're excited to bring this to Oregon and the OREF members, and we are here if you need anything. We definitely want to hear your feedback. If you think of anything else, I know sometimes a day after I see a product, I'm like, oh, it'd be awesome if it did this. So feel free to let Amy know and she can escalate that to me.
We thank you so much for taking the time to present to us, and want each of you all to remember that it was Western that introduced you to this product today. We are trying to stay up on top of all technology, and we are proud to be presenting this, having the opportunity to present it to you today. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I can definitely connect you, and would be happy to talk further with you about it. And we're excited to be able to present it to you guys today.
Thanks for having me, Amy.
Thank you.
Wonderful day.
Thank you. Stay tuned for our next Western Ed Wednesday. We will be taking July and August off and coming back in September. Again, Western Ed Wednesday, every 3rd Wednesday of the month. And we'll be looking at doing some in-person. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All have a wonderful Wednesday.
Bye.
Let's go into the team meeting.
Thank you.
Start
Thank
setting
you.
up.